Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. We are looking at the basics in real estate. So, without wasting much of the time, let's get into this video. Alright, so in real estate, I know when someone says real estate, they mean a lot of things, right? So there are different types of real estate. You can have residential, you can have commercial, you can have industrial. Even land actually is real estate, People can buy and sell land. So even that actually acts as real estate. But today's episode, we are really just focusing on residential, right? So in residential, what do you mean when you say a home, mortgage, Are you renting? Are you leasing? Right? Like, what do this all mean? Right? So the first thing we are going to look at is a home. So when we're talking about residential, there are different types of homes, right? So we have this house, it's a home. If only one occupant stays here, if only one family, if it's meant for a single family to stay there, this is called what? A single family home, right? Mostly it's abbreviated as a single family home, right? SFH. So if you're looking at a single family home, it's just meant for one family, right? But what if this house was split into two and it has two different doors? This is called what? A duplex, right? But what if, let's say, it still has the same door, just as one door, and then it has like other houses attached to it, right? This is called what? A condo, or it is called what? A townhouse, right? So basics. So on today's episode, we're just going to focus on what? On a single family home. So let's say you are in Lusaka, you're staying in Chalala, and you have found a house, a single family home that is, let's say it's 2-bedroomed house, right? You found it and you're like, okay, I want to buy this house. You go to the property site, you see it, you like it. Then the owner tells you, okay, we are selling this house, but it's going at what? At 200,000 kwacha, right? So this is what this house is valued at. They want 200,000 kwacha from you. Then you go like, Martin, I can't afford to actually like come up with 200,000 kwacha to buy this house, right? Or I can't really spend that much money, right? So what can you do now to get that 200,000 kwacha? This is where the bank system comes in. You can actually go to a bank and get what is called a mortgage, right? So different banks have got different way in which they structure their mortgage plans, right? So in this case, let's say you go to any bank in Zambia or anywhere else really, and then you say, okay, I have this property, which is like most important. Don't go to a bank without you first finding a property. Make the deal, make the property, have all the documents that are needed. Then you go to bank, right? Because the bank is going to analyze both the property and your bank records. They are going to look at your bank records. Are you okay with credit? What is your credit score? And other things, right? So you have the house, you found the deal, you have made that deal, you have all the required documents. You go to the bank tells you, okay, we are going to give you some money. But then they tell you, no, we're not going to give you 100% because like, then what are you exactly putting? You get? So they tell you to say, we are going to give you the mortgage, but you need to pay a down payment of 20%. So this 20% is for this 2,000, which is like what? This is a 40,000 kwacha. This is the money you are putting. And you are like, okay, I think I can afford to put a 40,000 kwacha, right? So you put in a 40,000 kwacha from the 200,000 kwacha. The bank then lends you a 160, right? So you put this money, it shows in the bank, they're like, okay, we are good, we're going to give you a 160, right? This 160 is what we are calling a mortgage, right? This 160 is also called a note. A mortgage sometimes can be called a note, so don't get them confused, all right? So the bank gives you 160. But then they tell you to say, we are going to give you this mortgage. We are also going to give you interest because we're also running a business. We don't want to give you money, then you don't give us anything, right? So interest. So let's say, for just example's sake, let's say the bank says, you're going to give us a 5% interest. So on top of this 160,000 kwacha, you are supposed to put 5% interest to this money. for a specific period of time. So it can be as 15 years, it can be 30 years, some goes as actually as far as 30 years, sometimes it could be 10 years. So it will depend on how the bank structures their loans. So in this case, they say, okay, you're going to pay this after 30 years, okay? So that is your mortgage. You're like, okay, I think this is also, I can afford. Let's make this happen. You get the bank to give you the money. You buy the property, but the bank is not going to just say, okay, you're going to pay this. They need to structure what you're calling a monthly payment plan, right? So like, how much are you going to be paying towards your debt, right? Let's just call it monthly mortgage plan, right? So in this instance, let's use the number, let's say 2,000 kwacha, right? They say you'll be paying a 2,000 kwacha, right? So this 2,000 kwacha is going to be going towards this money and the interest. But apart from that, it will go towards insurance of your house and also taxes on your house. So this is what this is all about, the PITI. So this stands for principal, right? Which is the principal debt that you owe the bank, which is 160. I is the interest. The interest is the 5%. The T is for taxes. You own a property. When you own a property, it could be a house, it could be a car, you need to pay tax for it. So that is the tax. And insurance, you need to insure your property, right? Because things happen, accidents happen. Your house might get burnt and whatnot. So they want to actually make sure to say your house is insured. In this case, they are actually just protecting their own interest to say, we don't want to lose out the money that we have given you, right? They need to insure the house. So all this is actually encompassed in this 2,000, right? So the principal debt is the 160. The interest is the 5% you are going to be putting on top. The tax is whatever tax that property is going to be shared by government. And then you have the insurance from whichever insurance company that you have come into agreement with. Then you have been given a monthly mortgage plan of 2,000. So when you people say, no, we're paying mortgage, this is what they're referring to. And this really is what is encompassing your mortgage, right? So from there, you're like, okay, you have bought this house. You'll be paying 2,000 per month. It is your house. Now you're in business, right? So you're not buying this house for you to stay in it. No, right? Either you want to sell it or you want to put it on rent, or you want to lease it. So the other term for rent is leasing, right? So you can lease the house, you can rent the house. So let's say you decide to rent the house. Now, a 2-bedroom house in Chalala, in good condition, the range for rent really is somewhere around 4,000, right? So we are going to take 4,000 as the amount you are going to be charging. So the tenants are going to be paying you 4,000 every month. But then you realize, oh, you know what? I actually owe the bank 2,000, right? So from that 4,000, you can actually just remove 2,000. You pay the bank every month. You remain with an extra 2,000. What is this? This is called cash flow. Now, cash flow is important in real estate. In fact, cash flow is important in any type of business, really. So this is cash flow. Cash flow, you can use now this money either to buy your next property, or you can use it to do repair that are required in the house, right? Cash flow. But let's say if you decided to sell the house, right? You're like, you know what? I want to sell the house. I want to just make some money out of it from just selling the house, okay? So this house, you bought it at what? At 200. You want to sell it. You don't want to sell the same price, right? Because you have done some renovation. Maybe it has gained some value, right? You sell it. If you sell it, the difference, right, is what you are getting as profit. But before you can want to sell the house, let's look at another terminology that you need to understand. Because if you are going to talk about cash flow, you need to talk about equity, right? So what is equity? So if you say, oh no, the equity on this property is 50,000, what do they mean, right? So equity really is just what the current value of that property is minus what you owe the bank. So the difference is what the equity is. So in our case here, we owe the bank, it's a 200,000 kwacha. Sorry, this is the current value but we owe the bank a 160, right? So the difference here is what we are calling what? Equity. And if you remember, this is actually the money that you put in. So that is your equity on this property, right? So it's important that you need to understand this term, equity. You need to know in which different ways you can actually improve on your equity, in which ways you can increase your equity, right? Which brings us to the next principle. The next principle is very, very much important to understand. I'll put this in red, right? It's called, I'm going to put a star on it, right? It's very much important. We are saying buy low, then you sell high, right? Buy low, sell high. What do I mean? I mean, this property, this house was valued at 200,000 kwacha, right? But then you bought it at a lower price. Let's say you bought this at 150. Now you are thinking, but why would someone sell the house that is at 200 at 150? Could be many reasons, right? Let's say if this house maybe was from inheritance and they are fighting over this property, they just want to sell, they want the money. Or let's say this house belonged to someone who wants to move out of the country, they need some cash fast, they want to sell it, right? So they don't mind selling at 150 and you get to buy it at 150. This is actually what you call a steal, because if you look at this, before you can actually buy this house is already having a surplus of what? 50,000 as your equity without you even putting anything yet. So buy low, sell high. Very important. Your equity has already increased. Now remember, if we maintain the same thing, right? What was your equity? It was 40, right? This is after you did everything you did. Now imagine this 50 plus that, you have a 90 kwacha equity, right? 90,000 kwacha. So like that would be your profit, right? If you decided to sell this house. So it is very important to understand equity and to understand cash flow. Cash flow is very nice. Equity is really, really nice. You need to have equity in your property, right? Especially if you are planning on selling that house. Cash flow, very important when you are doing buying and holding. Because when you hold it for a long period of time, let's say 10 years, 15 years, that house is going to generate a lot of water, a lot of money. Of which, if you hold this house for a long time, you find that actually this rent that you are getting will actually pay back, right? Because it's paying for your mortgage. So it would actually pay back and you are getting what? Your cash flow as what? As profit, right? This is how people get to build multiple houses and they have a portfolio that just keeps on growing, right? There is a reason why most millionaires actually have what? Real estate, right? That is one of the reasons. Plus, obviously, the tax benefits that comes with real estate. All right. So, friends, this has been the introduction, really, for beginners to what real estate is. Just looking at how you can buy a house with simple mathematics and just looking at how you can actually purchase a home. You need to understand the basics. All right. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel for more videos that are to come. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.